How's it going, everybody? Adrian here, and welcome back to the Daily News Updates for Monday, March the 29th. I hope you had a tremendous weekend. There weren't any hard-hitting news stories this weekend, but I do have a few things to talk about, so let's jump in. First of all, last week I told you that Discord is putting themselves up for sale. Well, it turns out that Microsoft is actually a more interested party than originally indicated. Talks between the two companies were initially reported by Bloomberg and then reaffirmed by the Wall Street Journal. According to them, this deal could close as soon as next month. They're very far into these talks. And the idea here is that Microsoft would be acquiring Discord for somewhere around $10 billion. Of course, the head of Xbox, Phil Spencer, is a part of these discussions. Discord is a very gamer-centric messaging app. And of course, part of the reason why they might be acquiring them is to get another perk for the Game Pass, which is Discord Nitro. You know, Discord has been not profitable for a very long time as they acquired users. And it's really the amount of people that Microsoft is trying to buy here. Somewhere around 300 million people using Discord or something like that. Anyway, if the deal goes through, it would be Microsoft's biggest acquisition since they got LinkedIn for $26 billion. So this isn't just a big Xbox thing, it's a big Microsoft as a whole thing. Popular survival game Rust is going to be arriving on consoles on May 21st. That's on the Xbox One and PlayStation 4. And of course, there's going to be multiple versions of the game, deluxe edition, etc., at different price points. Now, the console version of the game is obviously based on the PC game, but it is being advertised as a quote-unquote separate experience. It's even being developed by a different company. So the two games are similar and they'll be continuously maintained, but they're going to have differing update schedules, different content, etc. So because of how different they are, there's not going to be crossplay between PC and consoles. However, there will be between Xbox and PlayStation. If you don't know, Rust is one of the more hardcore survival games, pretty popular. Recently got a boost thanks to Twitch streamers. And it'll be interesting to see if it's received kind of just as well on consoles. I think survival games tend to be more of a PC thing, but anyway, we'll see how it goes. The PC release of Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, launched over the weekend. And people were unfortunately dismayed to find out that their single-player game must be always online. This is generally the case for all Battle.net games. You have to have a connection to the internet in order to play it. And as tends to happen, they've already run into some issues which prevent people from playing the game because of servers, which is really something, right? Sorry, you can't play Crash because we're having problems with our servers. It's wild. And, you know, it's worth noting the game has already been cracked for piracy, so this isn't even really preventing that in any way. I don't know, I don't get it. Also in Crash Bandicoot news, the mobile title On the Run also released over the weekend. It's a pretty standard runner, right? Subway Surfers, Minion Rush, games like that. But it is fairly high budget. And it's also got more than 10 million downloads over the course of 3 days. That's pretty impressive for a mobile game. Okay, and our final story here, THQ Nordic have unveiled a new football manager simulator called We Are Football. So the development team here was co-founded by the previous creator of a game called On the Ball, a similar game released in the early 90s, Germany studio. So in contrast to the Football Manager series, which is of course the most popular one, We Are Football is marketed as very easy to grasp. So they say you're going to be able to even finish an entire season in roughly 2 hours. Much more compact experience. Because, you know, Football Manager can be very intimidating. It's a very complex game. There's also games like Out of the Park Baseball. Just so much going on there, and you're probably not going to like it unless you're, like, obsessed with the sport. So anyway, they haven't revealed which teams they got licenses for, which is obviously a big selling aspect of games like this. However, it will have a full editor, so people are going to be able to make their own custom teams. The modding scene is always very popular there. Just thought I would throw it out there in case any of you are football fans. Like I said, folks, that's pretty much all the news from the weekend. There was an Xbox conference that was showing off some of the indie games, but there wasn't any major headlines there. They showed off like some really in-depth looks at some of these games, but I would say nothing to go crazy over unless you have the Game Pass. So there you go. Thanks so much for tuning in, folks. It really does mean a lot. I'd also like to give a big thank you to Sendil for leaving a 5-star review. It's greatly appreciated and helpful. And I'll be back with the news tomorrow, as always. So until next time, happy gaming, everyone. It is the TGO After Show. Hello and welcome. Hey, you know what I did today? I played a new video game. How often do I get to come on this show and say I tried something new? I guess it's pretty often, but I actually purchased a video game, which is something I don't do very often. I got Valheim. I finally joined the bandwagon. And even then, I was a little bit late. I'm never on time for these bandwagon things. Am I late? Like, let's be honest, Valheim is popping off. They're still selling gangbusters. It's insane. Anyway, I played about 4 hours of Valheim today with my good friend, who, by the way, just, like, saw the game randomly. Like, he's not the type of person that would listen to this kind of show, right? He's a very casual gamer, but he plays a lot of games. And so he doesn't keep up with the news, really. He just plays games. And so he came across Valheim, and he's like, oh, this looks cool. Got a lot of good reviews. And I was like, dude, you don't even know what you're stepping in here. This is the talk of the town right now. So he convinced me to buy it, and we'll play it. So we played it. First 4 hours, I don't know. I don't really have too much to say, to be honest, after all of that lead up. It feels like a very good survival game. That's what I heard about the game, and that's what I played. The first 4 hours, I don't know, there's not much going on. Like, what I'm really looking forward to with this game is seeing how well they pull off the exploration and discovering new things. And I hope the progression is kind of at a good pace. But I think in general, survival games are just kind of not my thing. But the reason why I enjoyed this one is because it was a lot more palatable. There's stuff like repairing your items, which is just so easy and what every survival game should be doing. It's a thing where you just click a button and all of your items are restored. You don't need to use resources up. You don't have to craft multiple things all the time. It's amazing. It's got like a pretty clear progression system as well, which is not something that a lot of survival games have. The game is absolutely beautiful, which really helps. I spent many a time just like looking around at the lighting and the environments. Very well done. But anyway, like I said, I think if this is just going to feel like another survival game, I'm going to have a good time because it's multiplayer, but as soon as my friend drops off, I'm dropping off. There's stuff about survival games, I don't know, that I'm just not a huge fan of. Like, the building aspect of a lot of these games, to me, are really annoying more than not. And the UI is always really clunky for some reason. Like, if you want to get something done, there's 3 different requirements and 6 different buttons, which, by the way, is the reason that Rust is getting a different version than the PC version. Gotta imagine that would be a nightmare to put on console. So anyway, I would say net positive on Valheim, but I could see it going downhill if it stays the same, if that makes sense. And, you know, I'm also saying that from the perspective of somebody who hasn't really seen much gameplay footage of it. Like, I've been blissfully ignorant of it for a long time. I should probably go watch some streamers or something who are doing it, like, full-fledged, just to see what that game can be. And maybe that'll get me a little bit more excited for it. What else is up with me? Not much else. I didn't do homework when I should have done homework, which I'm kind of upset about. So, I don't know, keep me in your prayers that I stay alive in this course. I've watched a lot of movies, I'll tell you that much. So, as of like last week, the last movie I had seen was over the Christmas break. We don't watch a lot of movies. The time before that was in October. And then in the last 3 days, I've watched 5 movies. I don't know why I did this. It just happened. Part of the reason is because the Oscar nominations just came out, and for the first time ever, Shelby and I are thinking we might watch them. At least it's my first time ever watching it. And so we actually want to go through and watch the nominations so that we know what's going on. Maybe I'll talk more about that in the future. For now, I'm out of time. Thanks so much for being here, folks. Greatly appreciated. Till tomorrow. Farewell.